You're watching LWT. Now, the South Bank Show.
How are you preparing for a little night music?
I'm not at all.
Hello. Though she's too modest ever to claim the title, many critics and theatre-goers would call Judi Dench our greatest living actress, as well as performances in big stage roles such as Lady Macbeth and Cleopatra. She has uniquely also won a huge television audience by starring in television comedies like A Fine Romance and As Time Goes By. We wanted to discover some of the qualities that make her such a good actress. When we found out she was about to play the lead in Stephen Sondheim's A Little Night Music, we knew that it would be a most testing challenge for someone not known for her work in musicals. The National Theatre production and Judi Dench's performance have by now been acclaimed by reviewers. Nigel Wattis's film starts some months ago and follows her through to the opening night from the very first day of rehearsals.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair. Send in the clouds.
Last night I didn't sleep, and I sleep very well. Couldn't get one of the songs out of my mind. It feels like I've never done the job before a bit. But then everybody's very frightened on the first day. Everybody gets apprehensive and frightened. So I don't think what I'm feeling is anything particularly unique. I can kind of assure people that I'm going to sing exactly as I speak. I suppose I'm all right.
No, this can't be right. Are you sure you're not reading the map upside down? Now, what did you do that for?
I just felt like throwing the map out of the window, that's all. I haven't done any work on the script at all, so that's all new.
Okie dokie.
I hardly ever read a play.
Terry Hopkins and I hadn't read Antonin Cleopatra, so we didn't know that he died at the end.
Where is the fellow?
Oh, I failed to come.
Go to. Come hither, sir.
Good Majesty, Herod of Jury dare not look upon you, but when you are well pleased.
That Herod's head I'll have. But how, when Antony is gone, through whom I might command it?
We're in two.
We are in two. I know quite a lot of people this morning. I know Sean Phillips, because we did a play together.
Oh, gosh. We'd like to get day one over. Well, I know.
Just have to get through today.
Once we get today over, we shan't mind. It's true, isn't it? It's the moment where you know that everybody else is just as frightened as you are. Yes, I know.
Just pull me out, will you?
Your parents were interested in the theatre, weren't they?
We were always taken to the theatre, all the time. And then when the mystery plays came along, everybody took a huge part in all that. I mean, my ma made costumes for it, and my father played Annas, the high priest. And then they took a few of us from the Mount, and we got to play angels.
The Mount was a Quaker boarding school.
Yes.
But did you feel you were in a particular cast of mind when you were at that school?
Yes, and it suited me very well.
What parts of it suited you?
Well, I don't have much quietness inside me, because I don't find it easy to sit still and do nothing. In fact, I can't do that. But I can in meeting. Well, it's not doing nothing, but, you know, comparatively. I can sit and paint or I can sit and sew. But I'm not good at being passively quiet. And that disciplined me. And also, there was a tremendous kind of stress on a kind of direct spareness.
Were you already at school deciding that you would like to become an actress? Was that
No, I only ever wanted to be a designer, but then I went and saw King Lear at Stratford in the very early 50s. And it was the most amazing set, and I do know it was a kind of road to Damascus for me. I thought, that is the kind of designer I would like to be, but I can't see that I could have possibly designed something as remarkable and spare, and it comes back to spare each time. And then I thought, well, I'll try and get into Central. And I did get into Central.
Because your brother was there?
Yes, yes. But I went quite half-heartedly there. And it wasn't till the end of the first term, or I don't know if it was the first term or the second term or something, that we were made do a mime, and I totally forgot about it. Completely forgot. And forgot so badly that when it came to the day of going in, they said, this is where we do the mime. I thought, the mime? The mime? And so, I mean, I really was taken aback. And so I had to do something absolutely on the spur of the moment.
But why was it important to you? Because of the reaction?
Yes, because I got a wonderful kind of crit from it. And I thought, oh, this is very good. Things are looking up. And I got rather excited then about it. And
It mattered to you getting that much support from one of your teachers?
It did matter, because it changed my mind about really whether I wanted to act or not.
In A Little Night Music, Dench plays Desiree Armfelt, a touring actress in turn-of-the-century Sweden. After a performance, she is visited by an old flame, who's dissatisfied with his marriage to a much younger wife.
16 years. No rancor?
Rancor? Yes, for a while, a little. But now, no rancor, not a trace. Sandwich?
No. 100 years ever after a performance, I
Oh,
see.
worse. I'm a wolf. Sit down.
Well, rehearsals is a time that you are allowed to make mistakes and to try and make choices, to move your wings and to fly a little bit in certain directions.
So it was you? I peered and peered and thought, is it? Can it be possible? Is it? I thought, is it? Can it be? Is it? Could it? I've got so much bread, it's terrible.
It's terrible.
It's only to substantiate the line. I eat like a wolf.
It's a very curious thing sometimes. You know that there is a laugh in a line. Your instinct is entirely what tells you there's a laugh. And sometimes you can't get it. And in a play in the theatre, you can't get it and can't get it. Then quite suddenly one night, you will get it.
And you learn from that for the next time?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Still hungry as ever after a performance, I see.
Worse. I'm a wolf. Sit down.
Still hungry as ever after a performance, I see.
Worse. I'm a wolf. Sit down.
But it is an instinctive thing. It's a really gut feeling. It's as if there's a little thread that goes down somewhere right down in your stomach. That when it is right, it gives you a little electrical charge.
Sandwich?
Hungry as ever after a performance, I see.
Worse. I'm a wolf. Sit down.
You see yourself as more instinctive than technical, as an
Only instinctive.
Only instinctive. So how would you describe instinctive? What is this instinctive?
It's something that leaves you on a little razor edge all the time. And you think, on the night, that might be all right.
Sandwich?
Hungry as ever after a performance, I see.
Worse. I'm a wolf. Sit down.
Were you conscious when you were a student of picking up tips, saying, oh, they did it like that, they did it like that, they did it like that?
I've always believed this, that if you're going to play in a theatre, In fact, I know it's why I got into the Vic. I know it is. I went to the Vic the night before my audition. And you pick up tips then because you see exactly how much projection is needed. And you just notice what is very successful to do on that stage or perhaps isn't quite as successful. And I copied Barbara Jefford.
After winning the Central Drama School's gold medal, Dench was immediately cast as Ophelia opposite John Neville's Hamlet at the Old Vic, a daunting debut for an unknown actress. But reviews were mixed. One leading critic claimed that she had tripped over her advance publicity and fallen on her pretty face. How did you cope with that then?
I don't know, got on with it, I expect. Because we were also rehearsing for all sorts of other plays. Twelfth Night, The Dream, Measure for Measure, Henry VI's.
But it was very good that you were able to keep in the company and move with the
Certainly
company.
was.
And that must have been a tremendous support.
Yes.
And the idea, therefore, of a company, almost like a family holding a thing together, proved itself for you then, didn't it?
And has done throughout the last however many years, since 1957. It's the only thing I really believe in.
In what way?
That's not true. It's the only thing I believe in. But it's the kind of vital thing to me is a company, is an actual company, and a group of people working together.
He had become a tender, devoted, admirable lover.
The Countess.
Hold on.
You like jokes in performances, don't you?
I like the jokes best.
Yeah.
No, I like the jokes during rehearsals. This is what breaks down any people's inhibitions. If you can make jokes, I mean, I don't believe I think if you can't laugh at yourself, you shouldn't be an actor. And I think if you haven't got a sense of humour, you shouldn't be an actor either.
Actually.
Oh, dear.
In 1961, Judi Dench joined the fledgling Royal Shakespeare Company, which had just been set up by Peter Hall.
I registered the young Judi Dench when she was at the Old Vic in the late 50s, the Zeffirelli Romeo and Juliet. She was very bouncy, very witty, very sexy. I frankly would not have thought then that she would become the toweringly great actress that she is now and has been for the last 20 years. But I was wrong. So I think what made me cast her then as Titania, and what's been extraordinary about her development ever since, is this combination of wit and refinement and quite blatant earthy sexiness.
One of Dench's earliest productions at the Royal Shakespeare Company was The Cherry Orchard, starring John Gielgud and Peggy Ashcroft.
I'm going to bed. Good night, Mama.
My little precious. Are you glad to be home?
I can hardly believe it. Good night, Uncle.
God bless you, little Anya. How like your mother you are.
When I played Ranevsky, I played Anya in Michel Saint-Denis' production of The Cherry Orchard with Peggy playing Ranevsky, and I heard her voice the entire time. Every inflection I could hear.
Good night, Maman. Oh, sweet child. Are you glad to be home? I'm still a little dazed by it.
Judi does inherit the tradition of Edith Evans, Peggy Ashcroft, Judi Dench. I mean, it goes on.
If you have a background in the theatre, that's the thing, that's the strength, as opposed to television. Because if you think of acting in the theatre, it's that wide, and television is that wide, and filming is that wide. So at least you're starting at the thickest end of the wedge.
But there's a technique behind it. There are ways to say, I mean, there's even more basic than that. There are breathing techniques, aren't there, you have to learn?
Yes, that's your training. There are breathing techniques, and there are ways of not losing your voice. And I mean, that's being a professional as opposed to being an amateur, really. Because an amateur may not know about voice projection or production or rib reserve or your diaphragm or anything like that. But you have to get that over very quickly. That's just a technical process that you have to go through, and that's an instinctive thing. It's like learning the lines.
You have to have that backing you up.
You have to have that backing you up, and also in Shakespeare, if you obey the verse, you will never run out of breath, for instance.
Really?
Yes, never.
And so they are. Alas, that they are so. To die even when they to perfection grow.
And what, just pause a moment and say what you think about what you should do about couplets. And are they a problem or are they good stuff or what? I reckon if you give full weight to those couplets, you do round off the scene and you then earn a pause before Bestia and Curio come back.
If you're lucky enough to be taught about the verse from Peter Hall, Trevor Nunn, John Barton,
Terrific.
That's something that will never go away.
If I ask you about a little night music, do you draw on the same sorts of things, or do you approach that with a quite different cast of mind?
I approach playing a part exactly the same way, whatever it is. Whatever it is, whether it's Shakespeare or whether it's little night music.
Who's this?
Oh, that's my daughter. She's with my mother in the country. She used to tour with me, and then one day my mother blew in like the wrath of God and saved her from me. You never met my mother. She wins all our battles. I think a little schnapps for me, too.
Oh, yes, of course.
Working on a Shakespeare play it's exactly the same, really, as this. All you're doing is examining the possibilities and discarding what you think is not right for that person and trying to find what you think is required.
I apologize for all the squalor.
On the contrary, I've always associated you very happily with chaos. So.
Is sex in the air, isn't it? It was a complete deflection that time. And then it actually took the edge off the music.
Yes. I actually think that's what it's going to be.
Yes,
He
exactly.
says so.
Yes.
He says, I think I'm going to talk about my wife.
Yes. Well, I thought when you said that time, I apologise for all this squalor. It was like, shall we
It's gonna
now
be
go to
worse
the other
in
room?
there.
Yes. I thought it was an introduction to the other room. I thought it was the...
Oh, right.
The next step was going to be...
Oh, right. Oh, right. Let's try
That's
something
what I felt it was.
Okay.
There is a school of work which troubles me somewhat in the British theatre that approaches things technically through the craft of something, rather than playing around and just let something organically become what it's going to be.
She's with my mother in the country. She used to tour with me, and then one day my mother blew in like the wrath of God and saved her from me. You never met my mother. She wins all our battles. I think perhaps a little schnapps for me, too.
Oh, yes. Judy certainly approaches her work through the craft. She technically is very adept. She understands what the audience's perception of her performance might be already in this room.
I must apologize for the squalor.
On the contrary, I have always associated you very happily with chaos. So?
Are you very conscious of differences between the stage and having these things around, cameras around, and how you, as an actress, play a part?
Well, the thing about the television is that it's like filming it. Once you've done it, it's there. Can't ever get it better. That's it.
And have you ever felt that? That's the best take I can do?
No, because I don't know that that's the take they're going to use.
Look, should we have a good gossip, woman to woman? Now, how is Mrs. Collins? And all the little Collinses. And how is Mrs. Collins? Mr. Collins? Has he run off with Mrs. Evans yet?
Go and watch television.
And how is young Timothy? What's his name? O'Brien? Has he got young Penelope in the family way yet? Somebody must be knocking on his door. He's a likely lad.
What's the good of even trying to have a serious conversation with
Oh,
you?
yes, it's all going on out in the sinful suburbs. Oh, yes.
What attracted you about talking to a stranger, the part you played there?
Well, I said I couldn't do it when I read it. I can't do this, I said. And John Hopkins said, I'll sit outside in the car. And you can come out and ask me anything you can't get on with. And, also, I played that girl in Z-Cars. And he said to me, that was the kind of start of that person, Terry, in Z-Cars, when I was Peter Woodthorpe's mole.
Now then, pack it in.
Enjoying yourself.
Well, what's your name?
Popular with the girls, you two, are you? Knocking them about and that.
No, come off it.
Well, they go for it, don't they? Bit of a punch-up fancy, that's some of them.
What's your name?
Judy Garland.
I admire film actors very, very much indeed. Good film actors, because I think it's the most difficult. See, we're allowed to get it different in the theatre. We're allowed to get it better, or we're allowed to think I'll cut that out, or make it sparer.
Don't ask me how at my age one still can grow. If you...
She doesn't require a sort of intellectualization of the text, but sometimes she will just ask you one very specific question, and I think she absolutely expects a really strong answer.
I didn't know what to do before. Dear Frederick, I really must meet her in those bars before I come in, because I mustn't come in before the music changes.
What is it?
It goes... Now, I don't... 2 bars. Dear Frederick, I'm just longing to meet...
Well, don't you think I've got to bite the bullet on this, and I've really got to give him something? Isn't that it? Isn't it gathering up the... And then you bottle out with the sometime. I think when you start the sentence, you say...
Yes, that's all right. It's those 2 bars after the end of that and before she speaks.
It's a pause.
Yes, okay.
And then that's what comes out, and then you back out towards the end of it.
It should always be fluid, because there can't be an absolute right way of doing it. You just try and rethink it each time.
If you met my wife, you'd know.
Dear Frederick, I'm just longing to meet her. Well, dear Frederick, I'm just longing to meet her. Sometime.
What good is sitting alone in your room?
During the 1960s and 70s, Dench built up her reputation with the Royal Shakespeare Company,
Life is a
with the repertory seasons in Oxford and Nottingham,
come to the
and in the West End, where she was London's first Sally Bowles in Cabaret.
down, the knitting, the book and the broom. Time for a holiday. Life is a
In 1971, she married a fellow RSC actor, Michael Williams. After the birth of their daughter, Finty, they bought a house near Stratford-on-Avon, where the 3 generations of their extended family could live together.
We could look after one another and feed one another spiritually, and we did that for 12 years. I had a very close family life, and so did Jude. And all the qualities that she has as a person, I'm sure, and indeed as an actress, came from that very close family background. I've always said that management should pay Jude an extra fee for being a leader or a mother of a company.
I'll bring you something at lunchtime.
There is nobody else in the theatre that does that to the same degree as Jude does.
I have no idea what happens after a certain point.
While rehearsing a little night music every day, Judi Dench was performing Rodney Ackland's Absolute Hell at night.
This is good. We can have this. We have to have this. We're getting into the mood.
She played Christine Foskett, the hard-drinking hostess of a London club at the end of World War II.
Right, there she is.
I saw you most recently in Absolute Hell. At the end, the sense of the terror of being alone and finding herself with herself thrilled through the theatre. Now, what do you suppose you're drawing on for that?
My own fear, I expect. I expect entirely. I have a thing that when I go into a rehearsal room, my coat and bag have to be nearest the door. don't know what they'd say if I was on the couch about that. But I can't leave it. I can't have it furthest away from the door.
Really?
I don't like that. So you see, I have to have a quietness inside me somewhere. Otherwise I'll burn myself up.
Oh, absolutely bloody hell.
In the final scene, Foskett's nightclub has been closed down. She is deserted by her drinking companions and left totally alone in the condemned club.
Isn't it rich? Are we a pair? Me here at last on the ground, you in midair, sending the clouds. Isn't it bliss? Don't you approve? One who keeps tearing around, one who can't move. Where are the clouds? Send in the clouds. Just when I'd stopped opening doors, finally knowing the one that I wanted was yours, making my entrance again with my usual flair, sure of my lines. No one is there. Don't you love fast? My fault, I fear. I thought that you'd want what I want. Sorry, my dear. But where are the clowns? Quick, send in the clowns. Don't bother, they're here. I'm an actress who can put over a song. I wouldn't say sings, but I would say could put over a song. Because I had to learn that in cabaret. So it's just a matter of acting it.
Towards the end of the play, Désirée asks Frederick to leave his ill-considered marriage and stay with her, but he rejects her advances.
Isn't it rich? Isn't it queer? Losing my time this late.